Hi again. I'm going to do this video for the girls who couldn't come to our Zoom meeting. So previously in the Zoom we demonstrated using some different watercolouring techniques or colouring techniques on either shimmery white or thick white, which is this one here. They give a slightly different look. The shimmery white does have a bit of a sheen and a shimmer to it. It's quite a fine paper. It's probably maybe a little bit lighter, but it's very smooth and it takes water quite well, and it's good to watercolour with. So it's a different look from watercolouring with watercolour paper, but some of the things are similar. Now I'm using an aqua painter. Water painters will work the same. It's just that I've got these out. Naturally we sell them. I'm going to wet my paper down a bit first. And you'll see that there is a bit of a difference in how the paper takes up, depending on whether it's shimmery white or the thick. I wouldn't try ordinary white cardstock because I don't think it's strong enough, and I think the water won't work so well. I'm just sort of swooshing. Can you see that? I'm letting it flow. I'm going to use the basic colours that we did when we had the class sort of catch up. I'm cleaning my brush. I should have swished it on there, but I didn't, but that's okay. I'm sort of using the same colours. I'm not mixing any blues here, so it won't turn into mud too badly. But I just want some decent colour. Now the middle one here is pale papaya. The first one I did was polished pink, and I've used the same palette for all three sessions, so this is the third effectively session. Probably need a bit more Reinkers. So I've used the Reinkers. They're $6.50 each. Good value. Oh, I did it again. Look, I'm supposed to do that first. That's all right. Sky won't fall in. Oops. No, but I don't want to do that. I want to wet this down a bit first, because the colour will just, you won't get as many of these blotchy things in there if I do that. So you can see this is not, it's not technically tricky. You'll be able to do this. I'm just going to see how it just moves around. It's pretty good, isn't it? Look, you can make all sorts of patterns. Can you hear the dog barking? Someone's order's just arrived. That's exciting, isn't it? Now, what I'm doing here is I'm going to put the pink down here again, just because I want to finish it off with a bit of pink. But I think I'm running out of pink. So what I will do is put some more ink in the in my palette. So just cheap palettes, probably out of, I don't know, maybe the Reject Shop, maybe Aldi, I'm not sure. Anyhow, this is the polished pink, so it's one of the 2021-23 in colours. That's this one here. The papaya is the other colour, one of the other colours. There's 5. Polished pink, pale papaya, fresh freesia, which is this purpley, soft purpley colour. I've already got some of that left. I've probably used least amount of that colour. The other two colours are soft succulent and evening evergreen, and I'll show you in a jiffy what they are. So I'm thinking, look, I might just swoosh a bit more down here, just to bookend it, if you like, because then it's really similar to what I did in class. And if we want to make it a bit stronger, and just come back and sort of dot it or swoosh it or something. So that'll do. Now I'm going to set that aside to dry. I know that you can use a heat gun to dry it. I tend not to, but if you do want to use a heat gun to dry your paper, then I'd suggest you use the heat gun on both sides. I'll show you. Now this is one I did this morning. We had the Thursday girls this morning. So you can see it's really similar. I wanted to keep them similar. But I now want to show you what happens when you add a bit of water to it. Now can you, I hope I can. So I've just put my brush in there and I'm just throwing the water at it. Obviously there's no finesse. And then I'm going to set that aside and let that do its thing. So you might be able to see already that we've got these drops moving quite a bit. You can see there. There we go. See, this is sort of creating a bit more interest. There we are. Just a bit of interest in the paper. So let me set that one aside. And that will do its thing. This one is thick white. It's Whisper White. I reckon basic white will behave the same, and I have yet to try that out, so that will be one of the next things, but perhaps not in this video. You might see that it's sort of bubbling a bit here, but when it dries it won't do that. So this paper has soaked up the ink a lot more, so I just probably need to use a lot more water when I'm applying this, so it doesn't, there we are. So I'm using more water with the thick than I did with the shimmery white. So shimmery white is probably my preference, but I know in your kits I did use both. This is what Kat and I we were playing with these. I'm just going to irrigate that a bit more because I want those colours to bleed a bit and to look a bit softer. So I'm trying to work quickly so the paper it doesn't soak in, like it stays wet, so the ink will move a bit. Definitely shimmery, I would say. I prefer the look of it. This one, it's I need a lot more water on the thick. Some of it could be the operator, of course. That's a lot. That's what I want to see. So I'm just obviously wetting it down quite a lot so that it is very wet. And I know I could have water in the barrel of this. Oh dear, I need some more pink. The Reinkers, they're really good. You can also use them for the baby wipes technique. They just give a nice strong. It's stronger than if you use your ink pad to transfer the ink to a block. It's stronger colour. A lot more water going into this. So I'm going to, while this is wet, I want to keep playing with it. Obviously you can make your own design. I'm just doing this in bands of colour so that you can see it. I'm going to re-wet this, because I want some more of this papaya colour over here. Let's see how it moves. but you can probably see this is really wet now. That's moving, that's good. All right, I'm going to set that aside. For a minute. Okay, and this was the one that we prepared this morning, and I flicked, that's that water I flicked at it. So you see you're really getting a very interesting pattern to that. Now I know that when I was talking to the Wednesday girls yesterday, I used, pardon me, we used an ink pad and transferring ink to a block. I'm just going to be sort of careful and try and pop them to one side. I'm going to grab this one that we did. I actually was really quite heavy-handed here. I did this morning to the same piece to lay some extra colour on it. And I'm going to come in on this end. I was going to use, that's actually Melon Mambo, and I did that because they're all the brights. So I thought if you don't have the in colours, I wanted to show you what you could do with the bright. So I'm going to do it just at the end, the other end. So this one I put Pacific Point on it using this method, which was to take your block. I'm trying to see. Yeah, I'm in view, that's good. And I'm patting it, or I'm doing more than patting it actually. I'm digging it onto the ink pad to get some ink. And I just want to see what this is going to do now. So we're using the same method. We're going to use this, we're painting it on basically, but I'm going to just wet the edge down here. This is thick, it's not shimmery, it's thick. And I'm going to wet this whole edge down. I want to show you what will happen. I might just swish it in there a bit because then it might bleed a bit. I'm going to pick up some of this colour. You can see it's not as quite as rich as the polished pink. It's still bright, but it doesn't have that same intensity. And I'm going to put it all the way out. So I'm obviously being very heavy-handed here because I want to strengthen the colour. And I want to show you that it'll move, the colour will move a bit. Now the only thing you'd probably want to know is if you're going to go back onto your block, I'm just going to try something else just because I can. Oh, there you go. If I'm going to go back onto my block, I obviously don't want to put that on it onto my ink pad because it'll dilute and potentially corrupt the colour, so I would just clean that off. There we are, done. So that'll create an interesting sort of look, something like this, as the ink sort of soaks into the paper and it bleeds. So that's that part of the tutorial. Obviously I should have been using this, so we'll just pretend I used that. Okay, I'm going to pop that to one side, clean my brush off. So the brushes, the aqua painters or water painters, you just clean them off like this, and then they'll be ready to go for the next time. Okay, I'll put that away, and then I will show you what Kat made. So this was when Katty was with us, our granddaughter. So these were hers using the inks. Some of it's on Shimmery white, and some of it's on just ordinary white, but we did use all the Reinkers for these. This one was Kat's, and it was on Waterpack colour paper. And she did one more, which was this one, and used, so did the design in a spiral, and then she applied the gold leafing on a spiral. And I will show you the method of doing that. So I started one this morning. Let me bring that over here. This was using, they are the in colours, but the colour is not as dense. Might have been a bit light-handed. And you might see there's a little bit of gold foiling up the top. which I haven't quite taken all the excess off yet. So I will do that. I'm going to stop this video. I just want to set something up first. All right, I am back. I'm going to move that there a bit so I'm in frame. Now, we made this one the other day. Colours are a bit paler, and I've already partially glued some of this gold leafing on here, and I just used my ordinary Tombow glue. Initially I did water it down, but I worked out I could get a finer line if I didn't, and it adhered better. I'm now brushing off the excess for what I showed the girls this morning, so I can get quite a fine line. So this is, some of this paper is like what you have in your kits. It's very, very fine. Oh, botheration, it's in my paint. Knew I shouldn't have done that. Oh well, you can go over there. It's very fine and it does go everywhere. And I probably should have a full piece of scrap underneath, but I don't. Alright, so this is why I'm going to turn this round, because I've got a bit of Tombow in here, which obviously I left too long because it is set solid. So I shall use the other one and just squeeze a little bit in. So look, it's a new one, but your Tombow, any of your Tombows will be fine. It's just that was the one I had to hand. So I've just got a little tiny paintbrush, and I'm just going to draw like some wiggly lines. So I guess what I was trying to do with this paper was replicate some of that beautiful, beautiful paper, the expressions in ink paper. Now I'm going to see how close this is. I'm just going to wash that brush out at the same time because I keep forgetting to do that. Okay. Radio, and I will grab my gold leafing, which has disappeared. Now here it is. Ah, no, I wanted to show you something. Oh. So when I brushed off this leafing, I actually put it in a container. Okay, so it's just a plastic container. Now there's a lot of static electricity with this, and it's sort of stuck to everywhere, the sides and everything else. Which is why I haven't upended the whole container into it, because I'm just going to grab a bit of this and pat it onto my glue very gently, because otherwise I'll get glue all over my hands, which I have done before. So I'm just patting it on for the time being, and it does want to stick to the sides. So that's all right. So yeah, so you don't, so even though you think you're going to have a lot of waste, you don't, because you can reuse it. There we go, go there, whatever didn't stick. There we go. And all I really want to do is show you what I'm doing. So this is what it looks like. Ooh, look, I'm all sticky. Not too bad. Let me cover this up so I don't sneeze, cough, or do anything else on it. I wonder if I can get that on there. So what I will do is I will allow this to dry. It won't take that long, maybe, I don't know, half an hour or so. And then when this glue's dry, I'll just take to it with just, once again, I've used a thicker brush just to swoosh off the extra. And then effectively I will end up with something like that I could cut into strips for decoration for a card. So that was where we were up to with our classes. Let me try and get rid of this so I don't make too much of a mess everywhere or breathe too heavily. Put that over there, and I'll show you another version. So this one, I'm trying to see what I can see. Here we go. This one, I did it in all the, I used, this is Shimmery White, and I've applied the ink, once again Reinkers, but they're not as strong. So this one's Pale Papaya, this is Fresh Freesia, this is Polished Pink, Soft Succulent, and Evening Evergreen. And then I'll show you how I might use that. So I might grab one of my Wild Meadow dies. Or, sorry, they're not Wild Meadow. These ones are called Meadow dies. They're part of the Quiet Meadow bundle. But I might use these to cut some flowers. So you can see I'll have coloured flowers, I'll have green stems. Or, so that's one idea. Or I might say this piece, which is really vibrant and I love, doesn't necessarily have anything for a stem, but this would look pretty cool. So if I die cut these out, I'll have some absolutely lovely, and I'd probably want to grab the bright pink I want for these flowers. So I'd probably do something like that, and then I might capture more of this colour in here for these leaves. So that'll be another way that I could use this. So not just cutting it in strips, but I might die cut these. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do it right now. So I'll stop this again. I'll come back with the die cuts and show you something else. Okay, so these are the pieces that I've cut from that one piece of coloured paper. So this was this is now the piece of coloured paper. You might be able to see how I've done this. So I had one that way. I had one that way. I had this little leafy bit was in here, and this bit was over here. Now, there is a little spot to put a little pearl in the middle of those flowers, which was what I wanted to do. So I've got really strong pink there. Got really pretty variation of colour. We also have these little dies as well, and they're for the flower. They could be leaves or they could be a flower centre. So you might see I've cut 2 flower centres out of these. So I've chosen a yellow. I just want a bright. So that's something that I can then use these to pop on a card. So they're my other ones. So let me just move that across so you've got that in frame better. And I'll show you the rest of the Quiet Meadow dies because they're rather gorgeous. Oh, sorry, Meadow dies. They're rather gorgeous. Here we are. So we've got a different sort of leaf. We've got a couple of butterflies. Your greeting layer. I've got another one of these. And these are really useful too because they're just really skinny and a little tag. So that's it for the vid for colouring your paper. I hope this is useful to you and I hope you liked having a play. So share what you've done. Put it up on Rocky's Craft Room. Bye.